What's good, everybody? Happy Friday. The markets are officially closed. I can't get the lighting right on this thing, man. Trying to figure that out. We're going to play with that this weekend. But anyways, hope you guys had a great week. We'll just review the markets real quick. And then if you're a customer of ours, stay tuned for the email coming out a little bit later. Our market update, also our portfolio update to let you know how you did specifically for the week with your retirement investments. On the screen, you should be able to see the S&P 500. We're just going to leave it up from now on. We've got the S&P breaking out of this range. Remember, that was a big deal, right? That was a big deal earlier in the week. It helped the markets close positive on the week. The Dow was higher by 90 on the day. The S&P closed higher by 4. The Nasdaq did sell off 2, but that one was kind of your leader. Let's take a look here. This is the S&P, of course, did well in the short term. That's okay. It had a great move over the last, I don't know, what is that, seven days? You would expect to see the markets take a little bit of a break. Going forward, that wouldn't be a big deal. If we go over to the Dow up 0.5% on the day. Same thing, just had a nice, great string of days there, breaking out of some known resistance that people like to look through. And so for the moment, if it happens to take a break, I wouldn't worry too much about that either. And the Nasdaq being the best performer, outpacing all the other markets, same thing. That one sold off a couple points today. Nothing to worry about. I really have no concerns there. Something else that really is interesting is oil, right? And I'll be honest, it was one of those weeks where there was not much to talk about, right? We had the sort of pullout from the nuclear deal there, but other than that, there really wasn't much to talk about market-wise. There wasn't a lot of great earnings. There wasn't a lot of bad earnings. It was just kind of like everybody was happy to see the markets go higher. Oil was one of those that got a lot of attention, and on the screen you see the actual futures price of oil. That is crude oil, and so for the week, the price per barrel of oil ended up going from $69.80 almost to $72, just a couple cents shy of hitting $72, again, because of the nuclear deal. If you go over to any energy-related ETF or energy-related stocks, you could see that over the past few days, they also had a nice spike higher as well. Oil service stocks, oil explorers, that was the big, oil explorers, that was the big one on the week that broke to new highs. So all did really well there energy-wise. If you follow the Dow and that's your thing, ExxonMobil was your leader there in the Dow as far as the energy companies that were doing well. Chevron did well also, but ExxonMobil really stood out, breaking through the 200-day moving average. So that was energy. Energy, really great week for that one. No complaints there. If we take it a step further now and we go over to tech. Now, however you want to look at this is fine. But tech did really well this week also. That helps sort of support everything. Wasn't a lot of talk of other sectors. Now, retail going forward is going to be the big talk as their earnings start to come through. That'll be sort of the latter part of the earnings season. But tech stocks, they did really, really well this week. Facebook, of note, they erased all of the Cambridge Analytica data breach issues that started back here. So let's see, what was that? They had a total decline of 20%. So further illustrates my point. When a stock goes on sale, when the markets go on sale, always benefits to be a buyer. So in that case, the stock has recovered 20% in less than 2 months. So the decline happened, and in less than a month and a half, actually, the stock recovered. Did really, really well there. So not bad. Apple was also big in the news this week, breaking out of those highs. This is the Warren Buffett sort of news that came in last week. It just continued that move this week as more people were pretty excited to follow along with Mr. Buffett. And his partner, Charlie Munger, seemed like they gotten quite a bit of a fight over how much they should buy. Charlie Munger seemed a little bit frustrated that maybe they should have bought more, but Warren Buffett won again. So tech stocks, really, really good there. Not much, else to say. They held up at highs, or they made new highs if you're following along, so no concerns. Lastly, Verizon was in the news today. This is one of our dividend stocks in our dividend portfolio, and the stock was higher by 3% today, so a nice little gain there. Got right back into the 200-day moving average if you follow the technical sort of side of things. Basically, the news was JP Morgan said, hey, they got a strong dividend, and that 5G that they're going to come out with, that they're really kind of spearheading here, is going to be a real boost to their bottom line. So JP Morgan upgraded them. That's helpful. You always like to see a sharp move higher in a dividend-paying stock. That makes the process a lot easier to work with there. So, hey, I hope that helps. The couple other stories in the news. If you're needing to use the restroom, you no longer have to buy something at Starbucks. You can just go right in there and use the restroom now. They changed their policy. I thought that was very important. I figured I should update you guys on that because that does happen, right? You got to buy a coffee and I got to pee. Well, now you can just go in. No big deal. And lastly, NVIDIA, first time ever, they are reporting their earnings from crypto and almost 300 million, by the way, if you're keeping track of that. So NVIDIA, the stock sold off a little bit today because they expected that their crypto earnings would go down in the next quarter, but they made 300 million. So the guy that is sort of spearheading this thing, that's pretty cool too. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting that they're out there doing that. So NVIDIA looking pretty good there in the short term. All right, we'll wrap it up there. If you have any questions, happy to help you if you're watching live. Otherwise, we'll call it a weekend. Sean Murphy, didn't Verizon just release Visible too? No idea what that is. I'll be honest. I don't keep that much track of it. I keep track of the sort of the financial updates or technical updates that come in. All the products or whatever that is. Not familiar with it. Okay, did I get everything? Yep, I got everything. Have a great weekend, guys. We will, God, we got so much going on, but we'll be back next week. Hope you enjoy. Check out our events calendar, and we will talk to you next week.